Today, we're going to talk about the top 10 freight broker software programs for 2020. Okay. Now, this is a question that I get all the time. Do I need software to run a freight brokerage or a freight agency? Where should I get the software? How much does it cost? Right? So those are some of the very frequent questions that I get from my audience, whether it be through Facebook, whether it be through the blog, whether it be through LinkedIn, whether it be through email, whatever it is. I get these questions all the time. So I wrote a blog post a while ago, and the blog post was titled "The Top 10 Freight Broker Software Programs." And I wrote that because I was directing people to that as a resource to help them on their journey. Right? And so we're going to break that post down today. We're going to go through all 10 of those. We're going to talk about each one of them a little bit. And then I'm going to point you in the right direction so you guys know where to go. But first, let's talk about the beginning point. Let's start at the beginning here. And that is, as a freight broker, do you need software to grow your business? The answer is yes, but you don't need to break the bank. There are tons of options out there. And the fact is that day one, you probably don't even need it, but you will need it if you are going to grow a successful business. Let's face it. You start up day one, you have no customers, you have no shippers, you have no carriers, you have no loads. Therefore, you don't need software. What you need is shippers, carriers, and loads. So that's where your focal point needs to be. When you move your first load, it's pretty easy to move that load on a piece of paper. Just a folder, right? You could have a folder for each load with all the data and all the information in there. You won't lose it. So the fact is, when you first start, if you don't have the money to get software, don't let that stop you. You can still start your brokerage, get shippers, get carriers, get customers, bill the customer, collected, pay the carriers, make money on your first handful of loads without software. But once you get a little bit of that profit, then you're going to want to invest it into software. Now, if you have the money up front, feel free. There's tons of options I'm going to go over today, but that's the basics. Okay. So you do need the software if you're going to grow a real business. You don't need the software to move your first 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 loads. You could easily do that on paper, through an Excel spreadsheet. If you want to get a little bit more tech, it doesn't require anything significant to get started, but you will want to reinvest some of those profits into getting software that's going to help systematize your process, improve your overall, service offering, and just organize you a whole lot better, right? So, all right, so I'm going to share my screen. Today, we're going to start out with Load Pilot. Now, Load Pilot is a software that's been around for many years. And, it's a program that, I'm going to walk through really quick. Some of the primary benefits of Load Pilot. It has some great features. Again, I'm not here to sell anyone specifically. This is not my job. I do not get paid by any of these companies to promote their software. They're not sponsors of mine. They don't pay me when you subscribe, none of that. Okay. So just so you understand that. Some of the basic features you can see here is it covers everything you're going to need, from a broker's perspective. All right. So you have to understand, this is a basic software that you can get started with that has a bunch of additional features as well. The great part about this type of software with Load Pilot is it's very cost effective. You can see here $600 annually. They have different programs where you can buy monthly, quarterly, annually. So it can be a very cost effective solution. Load Pilot is a program that's been around for many, many years. I personally know a lot of brokers and different people that use this program. Okay. So that's number one, is Load Pilot. You definitely want to check that out. All right. Number two is Strategy Systems. Let's pull that up. Now, Strategy Systems is, has both a truck dispatching software as well as a freight broker software. So if you were to click on the freight broker software, what you're going to see is I know several people that use this program are very, very happy with it. It's from what I understand, it's a little bit more robust. What they really enjoy about some of it is the billing and the settlement screens. Again, the broker software itself, most broker software is going to be fairly similar. You are going to see people that have companies that have different feature sets, but Strategy Live is one of those programs that you can definitely trust. They've been around for many, many years. Okay. And you can also get a demo here. Obviously, call them, do a demo. You know, it costs you absolutely nothing. They'll show you all the features. All right, number 3 is ALJEX. Okay, so ALJEX is a company that's been around for a long time. They have a variety of different software products. The one main one that they have, obviously, is their freight broker software, and then they have LTL specific software. So if you were to click on the freight broker software, you'll see a bunch of the feature sets. You can actually see how their analytics works. You can see a quick tour. Again, pricing on these depends, but ALJEX pricing, if you were to look at some of their software pricing here, you're going to see it's based on the number of users, pricing level, feature sets. This is probably a little bit more expensive than LoadPilot, but it also has probably a lot more features. Now, initially, when you first get started as a broker, you may or may not need those features. So ultimately, you have to take that into consideration when you're first getting started, okay? So we've now covered LoadPilot, Strategy Systems, ALJEX. All right. Now let's look at TRUCKSTOP. Now, most of you are familiar with TRUCKSTOP because TRUCKSTOP has a load board that's been around for a very long time. It's the first load board that I ever signed up for when I was a broker, right? When I first started. So now TRUCKSTOP has a couple different products here. They have a Freight Broker TMS, right? Which is their TMS Broker Pro, which has lots of features, right? You could have unlimited users, invoicing, everything you need as a broker is built in here. The nice thing about this is if you're already using TRUCKSTOP, you're already set up with them as a vendor, which is nice. So ultimately, there's a lot of different features built into this. Again, whether you're using this as a broker or a carrier, but obviously we're talking about broker software. So there's a couple of different options for you here. You got the Pro and you got the standard. And again, they have different features and different pricing, but it's very cost effective. Like I said, most freight broker software, you're going to be able to get started for anywhere between $50 and $250 per month per user, depending upon the program. Okay, so that's Internet TRUCKSTOP. They have a great product. They've always done good by me from an overall product offering and support level. So can't recommend them enough, along with the other providers. Okay. Now, ARCLINE 2000. Let's pull up ARCLINE. So ARCLINE 2000, they have, again, a variety of different programs. You've got some of these are geared towards asset-based, but this Freight Broker software, this is geared specifically towards brokers. So you can see here some of the different modules: dispatching, sales, billing, accounting, business management. There's a bunch of different modules and different features built into this software. It's very robust. Again, I don't have the pricing parameters because they don't have those on here, but you could easily set up a demo. If you're looking for something that actually includes, some of the sales components built into it, like a CRM and some of the pricing components and things, this might be a good option for you. Again, you're probably going to want to have something that includes billing and accounting in it already. And if you don't have that initially, you can always migrate later into another program, okay? So those are a few of the options for ARCLINE 2000. All right, the next one is another company that's always been good to me and has done good by me, which is DAT, right? Which is the DAT. Now, they have, obviously, what they're most known for is their load board, right? Which is their load board service. And so, but they also have a TMS that they offer. They've had that for many, many years. This is not a new product. This is something that they've had for a very long time. The DAT has a lot of great people. They've got a lot of, history. They've got a lot of data. They've got a lot of information inside the market. They understand how brokers work and their needs. So I can't recommend them enough. Again, DAT Broker TMS. There's a transportation management software system built for brokers and 3PL. So you're going to find something that's very specifically built with the broker in mind here. There, again, some of the modules include operations, accounting, imaging, and different modules built into it, right? So now the price of these softwares is going to vary. You're going to request a demo. I don't think they have the exact pricing on here, and it's going to be dependent upon the number of users and the different feature sets that you decide you need built into the software, because it's not always an all-in-one. You can buy different TMSs with different modules built into it. Some are less expensive. The more modules you include, the more expensive it's typically going to be. But it will be a monthly, a monthly fee per user. And most of these, again, can be started for anywhere between $50 and let's call it $250 per month per user. Very affordable in the big scheme of things, considering this is the primary software that you'll be using outside of the load boards. All right. So let's move on to BROKERWARE. Let's move on to 3PL Systems. This is a company that started while I was a broker. I remember having conversations with some of the ownership there and with some of the management there. They launched this. They've been around for over a decade now, and they've done well. From what I understand, they've done pretty well. I did quite a bit of research. From a technology perspective, they have a very strong development team. They've got a really good understanding of the broker market, and they've done well. Again, they also, another big thing about some of these programs, including 3PL Systems, is their integrations. How well do they integrate with other programs? You can see here 3PL integrates with different accounting integrations, chat integrations, co-brokering integrations, EDI, LTL routing, load board integrations. There's all kinds of different integrations they've built in, which is great because now you can tie multiple systems together to create a more streamlined process. So that's an example of 3PL Systems and why you may want to check them out. All right. Broker Plus by Infinity Software Solutions. All right. So let's take a look at Infinity. So Infinity Software Solutions has, again, multiple products. If you were to look at Broker Pro, right, you have, the software, again, it's what you're going to find with most of these software programs is they're going to be fairly similar. What I strongly recommend is that you demo each one of the ones that you think are in your budget range, and then pick the best one. It really just comes down to that. The great part about it is that you're not tied to any one software for a long-term contract. Most of these are monthly or quarterly contracts, right? So you don't need to have a long-term contract with most of these. So you can switch if you're unhappy 6 months down the road, or if your needs change 6 months down the road. But this Infinity Software Solution, you can see, has been around for a long time. They've got a Broker Pro package. You can also see some pricing here, which again is going to depend on the number of users, going to depend upon the different features you build into it. You can actually create and get a sense as to what your pricing would be by filling out this quick form. And then it's going to tell you a little bit more about what the pricing is going to cost. But you can see here, a basic user cost is $100 per month. All right. TAILWIND transportation software. So TAILWIND has been around for a long time. They're a brand that's well-known, trusted, respected in the industry. Again, they've got standard versions, Pro TMS, Enterprise, and they've got a lot of different options here. But if we were to just focus on the Pro TMS, this is their freight broker software, trucking software. This is designed, for both. You can see here some of the key benefits. You can see some of the features. It's got texting built in, it's got load board integration, mileage calculations, everything that a broker needs. And the price of this is $99 per month per user, right? So very cost effective for anybody getting started as a broker. All right. And then you've got MCLEOD, POWERBROKER by MCLEOD. So 3PL and brokerage software, which is POWERBROKER by MCLEOD. Again, this has, these guys are moving more towards the digital freight matching features, which a lot of these other TMSs will have as well. But you can see here some of the different components built into their digital freight matching. These guys are positioning themselves a little bit more from what I can see on the cutting edge feature component. Now, to some of you that may or may not be important. For some of you that may or may not be over your head, it may not be necessary, but ultimately it looks like they've got a very strong feature set. From a pricing perspective, I don't see that they're publishing it here on the site, but I do think that they are probably falling somewhere in the range of what I've said before, which is somewhere between $50 and $250 per user. I could be wrong, but if you schedule a demo with them, the great part about these guys is that they have a variety of different software in different markets, which that tells you that these guys have got, they've been well established, they're profitable, they've been in business for a long time. They've got a good handle on different components in the industry. And so ultimately, I think, you couldn't go wrong with someone like MCLEOD. All right. So guys, so those are the top 10: Load Pilot, Strategy Live, ALJEX, Internet Truck Stop, Arc Freight by ARCLINE, DAT Broker TMS, which is by the DAT, 3PL Systems, Infinity Software Solutions, TAILWIND Systems, and MCLEOD Software. Those are the top 10. So my list was focused on companies that have been in business for an extended period of time, have proven themselves in the market, have a strong feature set, are affordable, right? So those are some of the key components that I used for basically sharing with you a top 10 list that you can't go wrong with, okay? All right, so guys, so that was the top 10 freight broker software for 2020. Again, you saw through that quick review a variety of different programs, companies that are, products that are designed for startups, products that are designed for companies that have maybe a little bit further along, and products that are designed for enterprises, that have large volumes of shippers, large number of users. You choose, right? But the way to choose is to demo the software, do your own background check, find something that fits your need today, and let's call it a year or two into the future, and then find something that matches your budget. And just know that you're not typically going to be stuck in a long-term contract with any of these people. You're going to be able to, make changes. You're going to be able to migrate if you decide to. The cool part about it is that the data migration probably won't be that difficult. These days, it's usually pretty easy. You'll back up all your data. You'll go to the new provider, and then you'll be able to have them integrate all that data into the system so you have all that legacy data, and then moving forward, you'd be able to use them. Hopefully, you'll be able to pick a program and you'll be able to use it for 5 or 10 years. The great part about relying on a company that's been in business for an extended period of time is that they are going to continue to develop the feature sets, and they're going to continue to evolve the technology as the business and the industry evolves. I can tell you that the software options that I had in 2003 didn't look like the software options that you guys have today. So you guys have a huge leg up from a technological perspective than I did back in 2003. So that's a huge advantage for you. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, share the stream. If you did, make sure you're back next Monday for another Freight Broker Bootcamp Live. I cover a different topic every week. And for those of you that are curious about getting started, go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com. We offer the most cost-effective and comprehensive online freight broker training program, and agents, I should say, freight broker and freight agent training program. A 60-day, 100% money-back guarantee. If for any reason you're not happy in the first 60 days, just message us. We'll give you the money back. We don't want you to be unhappy. We want you to be 100% happy. And so I hope you guys enjoyed this. Have an awesome week. Be safe, and I'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody.